Well, I want to give you the lowdown on what's really going on as an overview because you can see so many things coming at us from so many different angles, and it's been going on a long time, even back in 1913 and prior to 1913. The Civil War, 1913 referring to the Income Tax Act and the Federal Reserve Act. But basically, the majority of even the whites today are going to be treated like the American Indians. And we got a lot of lessons we can learn. Because what they're looking to do today is destroy our culture, destroy us as a people, whittle down our numbers. That's another thing that they're looking to do. And basically control us. Put us on reservations. There's even a war against rural America, the countryside, being independent, going out there and, basically homesteading, farming, building your own dwelling and all that type of stuff, getting your own water. T. Boone Pickens, a businessman wants to own all the water in Oklahoma and Texas. So let me just tell you this, though. I can't reveal everything, but I will reveal some stuff because I guess if the only way you really can tell you what's going on is to stick your neck out somewhat. But basically, think of ourselves as the American Indian, even a white man, and the people that are coming to you with deals and promises and cute talk, don't trust them. Just like what happened way back when. How many times did the deals that the Indians have be broken? They were broken all the time. Basically, what we got going on here is a global reservation. Look at what America has been. And you know what? I say America should return to the ways of the Indians. Actually, what really killed off the American Indian was not so much even the contracts were broken and the cavalry, the U.S. cavalry and all that. It was basically like smallpox more than anything. It was smallpox and the diseases that the white man brought over inadvertently, unintentionally. It was biological warfare without intending to be biological warfare, just how it worked out. That's really what killed American Indian more than anything, believe it or not. And when they saw this threat coming and when they saw their numbers being dwindled, many fought back for various reasons. And of course, you had the media way back when, in the 1800s, basically embellishing anything that the American Indian did. I know they didn't do everything perfect either. I know that. But there's so much BS during this time that, if the American Indians treated fairly, you were treated fairly. Basically, that's really how it went. There was no such thing as, the barbarians. It really comes down to that type of deal. But, one of the best examples we could have, too, was Geronimo. I know everybody knows about Geronimo, more or less. But that's the thing you shout when you jump out of the airplane, even when you jump out of the Humvee. You shout out of the truck, out of the back of the 5-ton. You say Geronimo, whatever. Everybody says it. And it's about the fighting spirit, the fighting the power, fighting against all odds when you're an individual. And you should always keep this kind of spirit because we got a lot of stuff coming up. And you know what? The biggest enemies we got are not necessarily the elite per se, but all the freaking, I don't know what you want to call them. I'll call them squaws right now, even though they're not women. They're like the guys that sit back and they freaking theorize, how easy it's going to be because they're taking care of us. No, they're not. They're not taking care of anybody. What they're trying to do is control you. It's like freaking putting you in a frog in a slow-boiling pot. You don't realize it until you're boiled. Right now, we got ISIS coming up with, we had the attacks in France. We got the refugees trying to come over the United States. Even if they stop from coming over the United States, they're pouring into Canada, they're pouring into Mexico, and not Western Canada, where the smarter people are. But, yeah, they're pouring in, north of us and south of us, and it's policy. The reason it's policy is because Islam, according to the elite, I already know what their deal is. They're trying to look at it as a form of control. In other words, hey, this is another method to control the people, so we're for it. But, and here's the other thing, too. They're looking to actually try to replace everybody with robots. And, this is where it gets like a lot of different grays areas because you could say the white man did this, the European man did this, but by and large, the European man, the white man didn't do a lot of things even the upper elite of the whites did. because what the average white was doing was just working and surviving, just like you have the coal miner here. That was the reason you needed all the labor before the machinery. They needed us. Now they're figuring they don't need us. There's a lot of things that, who built the Empire State Building? Actually, that was something else. That was the American Indians. But what's going on now is the elite think they got it all figured out. But it's not just them. It's like there's a lot of people out there that are just brain dead lemmings that think that they're going to be handed something to them. They're narcissistic. They want to be special. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to strive. They want to act like they care, but they don't want to do anything that is functionally work to help somebody. No, they don't want to do that type of stuff. So what we got today is, a lot of people that are part of the elitist plan, consciously or unconsciously or inadvertently. So what I say to that, though, is you really got to fight them in all fronts, because your enemies are all around you at one point in time. That's why they want to label you a terrorist. But, I look at it like this. It's not us. It's not us that are the terrorists. It is them, because they're the ones that are looking to control us. Back in the day, everybody did things on their own. That's why a lot of times they put videos out on doing stuff on your own. I'm not necessarily looking for what's the most popular video to put out. I'm actually looking for what's the most practical video in many cases. What can save you a couple bucks, even though I know you wind up spending a couple bucks in the beginning to save you a couple bucks down the road. But, back in the day, everybody did everything hands-on. That's what it really was. Even when things were getting mechanized, people did stuff hands-on. Even back in the day, how many people, when they were teenagers, were hands-on into working on their cars and things like that? A lot of them. A lot of people were. Actually, speaking of that, that was a symbol of independence. Get your own ride. You can go anywhere you want. Now they're looking for this Google cars crap, and people are saying, oh, that's such a good thing because my elderly great-grandmother can drive a car and she can't drive by herself. Or this would be good because if I want to take a trip someplace, I can go to sleep and the car could be driving. Well, you know what? It's going to happen. That's how they're going to introduce it to you. But you know what? They're going to restrict your freedoms, just like they do with the wildlife refuges. First they set off an area. They say it's a wildlife refuge. It's an ecological thing. And, it's going to protect the environment. It's going to protect the animals. And all of a sudden they say, first they'll start out with no hunting. Then they'll say no fishing. Then they'll say no 4x4s, no ATVs, no motorcycles. Then they'll say no hiking, no camping. Then before you know it, nobody's allowed on the land. Nobody's allowed to use the land. I have to tell you this. The American Indians actually used to freaking conserve our land. They used to actually conserve our forest. What these guys are actually doing today in the environment, they don't do anything with the forest. So what happens is, when there's a forest fire, it burns down the whole damn forest and it never comes back. The American Indians actually used to practice ecological measures to knock out some of the trees, take out some of the underbrush, use the wood for firewood or for building or whatever, making canoes or whatever, hollowing out canoes. And what would happen was the forest was healthier. It was actually managed by the American Indian before we got here. Now, I don't think like the white man actually just killed them all with, the way they show sometimes in the movies. I know that happened at times, but mainly it was the white man killed them by inadvertently through things like smallpox and the measles, diseases that were carried by the white man. Sometimes 80% of the tribe would die of smallpox over the winter. So I'm going to tell you, though, one thing that we really got to think of is defending ourselves and defending our honor, defending our individuality. And you know how we do that? Through the gun. Always stay armed. Never give that up, because that's the jewel that these jackasses are actually looking for. And I have to tell you this. There's a lot of different things that go on in this country that are actually predated by thousands of years of what happened in Rome on the other side, of the world, in Europe. That was basically what really started the modern day civilization. It fell apart eventually, but it wasn't exactly murdered from the inside as what's going on today with the totalitarian environmentalists, or basically used to be communists and control freaks, the way it wasn't actually murdered from the inside the way things are going on today. But people today are not standing up, for the most part, against what's going on. They're just going along with it. Or, at most, they're passing on an email to somebody making fun of Obama or Hillary or Jeb Bush or whatever. They're not actually fighting the power. And I got to tell you one thing. I don't like New Jersey, though I'm from there, but I do realize there's a hidden power behind the power that's the official government, and it obeys no rules that the government obeys. And that is actually the glue that actually holds that part of the country together. It's the family is the tribe. It's the same as the tribe. You never betray the tribe, and you keep what's in the tribe within the tribe. That's exactly how it works, and the tribe has its own rules. That would be the family. And it goes back 2,000 years. So a lot of times what appears to be on the surface, where there's a lot of regulation, in some areas it's not exactly the way it is, the way it appears to be on the surface. So there's always hope, I want to tell you that. But one of the best things you got to do is to keep your mouth shut about a lot of stuff. And that is really what's important. You got to break the rules. There's absolutely no way around it. When Obama is coming out with these different things about, pushing for Obamacare and all this type of stuff, whatever the hell he's doing. Actually, I think the largest health provider is now dumping that. But, you got to break the rules, man. You got to break the rules, Geronimo didn't freaking succeed by freaking listening to all the bullshit. He did succeed because he evaded the enemy for many years. And that's what you should do. Never trust him. Because, it's not exactly the white man that's doing it. It's a certain type. It's the professional, and it's the type that the professional's working for. They're the worst kind of the world. They're the scum of the earth. But, you got to play along like you freaking give a shit, but then again, don't give a shit. That's really what it is. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. And I think what's going to happen with the United States eventually, it's probably going to lose some of its clout as an economic power, but it may go back to more the way the Indian tribes had it managed the land way back when, which doesn't mean it's barbaric. Not at all. Not in the least. And I also want to say that I am pretty certain that I know ways to extreme longevity, not in a narcissistic sense, because I think that's really what sells on YouTube. Look 20 years old when you're 120 or something. Everybody loved that because I'm hot. But, I'm not looking at it that way. I'm just looking at it as, you could be the same as you always were and stay that way. I think it actually is more possible than you think. And with the knowledge that we have. But you know what? The elite don't have that kind of knowledge. You know why they don't have that kind of knowledge? Because they are surrounded by what I call the big bucks bullshit. Many of the things that are the most powerful medicines that we have are basically from plants, from nature, and are almost, or if they're not from plants in nature, they're other methods that are almost free. And the big bucks bullshit doesn't use those type of methods because they can't charge a lot of money for them, and once the secret's out, they don't need the big bucks bullshit. So that's what happens with the elite, is always victimized by the big bucks bullshit. So, I'm here to fight the power, and I'll tell you that's what the deal is, man, all the way. We're here to fight the power all the way. So, pretty much I'm going to give you stuff on here that's more practical tips. Some of the stuff is going to be pretty simple, but don't get involved in all the giddy rumors, because sometimes I look at, what the hell is that? Godlike Productions is one of them. Rents is another one. Sites out there. Alex Jones. Constant stream of all the shit that's wrong. Constant stream of everything that's broken, everything that can't be fixed. How this is going to happen. You better do that. It's like you don't want to be thinking about all that shit all the way. You want to know about it, but you don't want to be dwelling upon it, because what happens is once you become fearful and you're always involved in these things, you never get nothing done. But I have to tell you got to break some rules, man. You got to break some rules. I look at the tribe like it is the family. The same thing. The same thing. And what's in this country and what has existed in this country, America, has existed in the old country too, on the other side of the world, and it's still here in the United States, although it's not advertised heavily. Sometimes you see it in the movies, but it's around. It's around. And there's no screwing around with the bullshit. I can tell you one thing. You can trust some types of people will back you up more than others. There's no doubt about it. And those are the type of people who should stick around. Not the people that are talking sweet. They ain't worth the shit. Because when the shit goes down, they're like vaporware. So basically, just a little bit of a pep talk. I know what's going on with the TPP. I know what's going on with ISIS. I know what's going on with Obamacare. I know all that shit. I know, it's coming from all kinds of different ways. And I also know all the rules that have been out there, that have been enacted. Yeah, that's nice. I think I told you enough. Just like Geronimo, right? Did he obey every rule? No. So just keep that fighting spirit, and we will win.